Good evening. Now, I expect you're wondering why somebody that normally goes to the shops in his carpet slippers, what he's doing up here. Well, you'd be wrong, really, because sex is a very important part of my life. I think about it a lot. The trouble is that the thinking process that used to sort of email my penis with the information is now sending it by post. Second class post. But I want to talk to you tonight about a very important drug, Viagra. It's vitally important. And I want to give you tips to the many people in the audience I can see you'll probably take it. I want to give you some tips about this particular drug. Now, one thing you must remember about Viagra is it doesn't actually work right away. It's no good popping one in your mouth in the bathroom, rushing into the bedroom, diving on the bed shouting Geronimo, because it will probably be 40 minutes before anything happens. Likewise, if you take it 45 minutes before you need it, don't forget to mention it to the wife. Because you can rush into the bedroom with a right stiffy, stand by the bed and say, get a load of this. And in my case, she hung a bed jacket on it, turned over, went to sleep. The other thing you've got to remember is that it lasts an awful long time after. I didn't really have a use for it. But I found that if I hung a little bell on the end, that the budgie quite liked it as a perk. The other thing to remember when this is still going on, when you've still got your stiffy, is don't forget yourself and answer the front door. Our paper boy won't deliver anymore. And the catastrophe of Bob a Job Week, well. And the RSPCA is very angry about what I've allegedly done to the budget. I rang them last week, they've taken the budgie into care, and they say that his eyes have stopped bulging. This is 3 weeks. Have you noticed, now again, for the older fraternity here, and I notice there's a lot of you, but the older fraternity here, do you remember doctors' surgeries of sort of like 40 years ago? They're incredible places. You see, you're so used to the sort of modern surgeries, but the older ones will remember what doctors' surgeries used to be like. They used to be in little houses, usually, and there'd be just 2 rooms, and the doctor used to open the door and say, next one, please. And the waiting room used to be absolutely packed with slow-moving patients. I remember sitting one, 1960s, I suppose it must have been, looking around, and there was a guy dressed in a Home Guard uniform. God knows how long he'd been there. And he moved his head, and there was a Viking sitting behind. And doctors were different then. You'd walk into the room and it'd be full of blue smoke, and there'd be the doctor there puffing his pipe. And he had brown fingers from all the nicotine. At least I think it was the nicotine. And they had different remedies in those days. If you went to the doctors because you were constipated, he'd stand behind the surgery door. with a pin and a balloon. And the way he treated elderly patients was far more respectful. He would wait behind the surgery door again, and as you walked in, he'd pull the rug away. So you get used to having a fall. And the other thing that I noticed about doctors of that era is they always wanted to hold your balls and ask you to cough. And you'd only gone in there with a verruca. And he did it every single time we met. The first thing he'd say is, drop them. And then he'd hold your balls. And he'd say, cough. Every time I met him. Very embarrassing when he walked past when I was waiting at the bus stop. It's really awful. And the other thing that he used to do is, he'd ask you to drop your trousers. And he'd say, for inoculation, for example. And he'd say, just a little prick. I met him sometime later, and I said, well, you know, I used to think that you meant, you know, that I wasn't particularly well endowed. He said, yes, that's what I meant, yeah. Terrible times, terrible times. You see, modern surgeries don't have that problem. I go to the sexual guidance clinic at our modern doctors. I don't have any guidance requirements, it's just I like to reminisce. But my faith, ladies and gentlemen, in human nature was restored tonight when outside of this very pub I saw a blind man with his guide dog. And as I watched, the guide dog lifted his leg and he peed down the blind man's leg. Do you know what happened? This man got a biscuit out of his pocket and he gave it to that dog. And I said to this man, I said, that's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. An act of true generosity. A dog peed down your leg and you gave him a biscuit. He said, yes, and now I know which end his mouth is, I'm going to kick him in the bottom. Well, I'm almost finished, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to say that I rang the wife just before I came on tonight and I said, I've taken the Viagra. It should take me about an hour and a half before I get home. Brace yourself for a night of unadulterated passion. She said, that's wonderful. Who is this? Thank you very much for coming.